Of Katy's boy Dierks, Wayne couldn't be sicker. Wayne's grumbling grows as he and Katy grow thicker. Reilly and Jonesy yell zoot at Anik's photo shoot. But on yard sale Saturday, you always got a dicker.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Thirsty Thursday, and that means we are once again hanging out at the Produce Stand, the podcast paying tribute to the great Canadian show Letterkenny. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one knows how to dicker. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room, as always, is the lovely Tanya. She's a little sleepy tonight. And online, we have Squirrely Matt and the very thrifty, very cheap Victor. And joining us this week...
No V's there today, huh?
Joining us this week, he is the host of the Greendale Human Podcasters. He's a frequent contributor to the Twitter DM group, and he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. Please join me in making some noise for the pod lord himself, Jack.
Wondrous. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait. Oh my god.
I regret nothing.
Welcome back to the Produce Stand, Jack.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. I keep hearing that.
This is where the dicks hang out.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
You brought your own sound clips. That's
you've
awesome.
stepped it up since last time.
I bought my sample.
You were so excited about
It's
that.
also not Thirsty Thursday.
It's not Thirsty Thursday. It is. It's a Freaky Friday or something like that. Or, we
Saturday here, but sure.
Yeah, Super Saturday for you, whatever. So yeah, we decided we haven't had you on in a while, and it's because it's tomorrow there, and it's hard to have you on a Friday. So we moved heaven and earth, as somebody said in Twitter, to accommodate you, and we're glad that we did. So welcome back. Today's lineup is going to be. Hold on. Oh, here we go.
How are you now?
Today's lineup is going to be Matt, Tanya, Al, Victor, and our guest Jack will have the last word. So we'll start, Matt, with you. How was your week?
It's been a good week.
Oh.
It's been fun. I actually had to make a list because I'm like, what things are we going to talk about? So I was on the Disputed podcast yesterday, which it worked out fantastically that we moved for Jack because Dino fucked up last week in all the scheduling, which made us move things around to accommodate Trace and me, which we didn't need to do, it turns out. But all that to say, there was a blast. I was on there yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, please do. We had a good time. In their podcast, we go on there and we take two fictional characters and debate who would come out on top in the predetermined situation. So in this case, it was James Bond versus Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible, who I represented Ethan Hunt with the obvious win there. And it was a lot of fun. I think I actually came over prepared, even actually though I felt underprepared. But as soon as I got there, my fellow advocate kind of laughed that she was just here to have a good time and clearly had not done a whole lot of prepping for it, but it was still a really good time.
She brought a knife to a gunfight. All right, you were perfectly prepared, and it's funny because I wasn't planning.
Some might call you a tryhard.
A tryhard. No, he represented the Produce Stand pod. That's good. I'm glad you did.
I missed my one opportunity though. That when they introduced me, they threw the "How are you now" at me, and I said, "Hey, what's up, guys?" And I
fail.
Okay,
one job.
Yeah, you have one job.
But yeah, I mean, it was a blast. So I encourage you guys to check it out. Those guys run a fun show, and some of the characters are a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
Al was on there razzing me through the whole. I didn't actually know it was a live to air show.
Yeah, so I watched it live. I wasn't planning on watching it live, but I was down here working on tonight's podcast when I saw the alert come up saying Disputed Pod going live now. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna go and watch Matt and see and maybe give him a little bit of a hard time, which I did. And but I think you fared well.
No, it was very much appreciated. And like, again, I didn't know it was a live to air, and then I started seeing these comments pop up from Al on repeat, and he was definitely against me, but it added to the.
Oh, I threw a few bones your way as well, but I
think you were maybe feeling bad after a while there. I don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, it was all appreciated, and it was a blast. So
awesome. Tanya, how's your week?
I was really, really excited to talk to Victor.
He's here.
Victor, hi. We missed you last week. I can't wait to hear your recap of last week. But I was excited to see you too, because my parents called me this week and they're like, so we got to tell you something. We're taking a train trip. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell Victor. So my parents have booked this trip because your the background in your video there, they're going on that train. Well, I don't know what train it is. I'm sure you're the train expert. You know which one that is. But anyways, they're going on the across Canada.
Yeah, that's the Canadian. And they're going out from Toronto to British Columbia. Nice.
And they're doing the 4-day. They've got their own cabin. They've got their own washroom. They've got the tunnel there that you are in.
It's not a tunnel. It's
whatever.
Like a
the bubble thing.
Yeah.
And so they were super excited telling me all about it. And I'm like, I can't wait to tell Victor. So I was really excited about that.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's Linda and I were just talking about taking that trip, and she's not as gung-ho as I am, though she's mildly amused by it.
It's because she's looking at spending 4 days in a sleeper car with you with no escape. So,
well, what's really
I actually envisioned Victor not sleeping at all.
No.
I wouldn't. I'm the only one who never sleeps on trains or planes. It's true.
I'm not a sleeper on a
look,
plane.
there's a tree. Oh, look, there's another tree. Yeah.
Then another tree.
I once did
imagine Victor examining all the bolts.
Yeah.
Look at this one. Examining every little bit of the carriage.
Yeah. I do that. I took lots of pictures on my most recent trip. But no, Tanya, that's very, very exciting.
I once went on. Did I ever tell you, Victor? I once went on the Polar Bear Express, which is the northernmost train to go on in Ontario.
Yeah, no, you've never shared that, but that sounds like a night of laughs over some beers that we're going to share one day.
Oh my gosh! So the rest of my week, we're planning Thanksgiving. Canada's doing Thanksgiving in October, so getting ready for that. We've separated it into 2 weekends, so it's not all kind of crunched into one. We've got our daughter's birthday coming up. My son has some interesting stuff that came up this week in high school, that there's been some fights recently, fist fights, which he's never had to encounter before. Not him, thankfully, but kids that he's seen in his grade. And I'm so sleep deprived. It's not even funny. Super sleep deprived. So if I have word salad, just, charades me and help me out.
Will do. All right. My week was very busy. I'm so busy. My project is finally starting to not come to an end, because it's going to continue for the next 2 months. The podcast I've been working on, and I can't wait to share it with everybody. The trailer just dropped. It's called Yes, We Are Open. So if anybody it's about Canadian small business, so it may not be of particular interest to anybody outside of Canada, but it's still, my baby, and I'm looking forward to putting it out there and seeing what kind of reaction we get. So that's what I've been working on, and it's just been night and day. I've been putting in overtime. I've been working like a dog. I've basically been in this room, which is my office / bedroom now, all week, just because I've been working night and day to get these episodes up and ready. I'm tired, but was looking forward to today, to podcasting today, and also looking forward to hearing about Victor's trip and also his rating from last week's episode. So Victor, how was your week last week?
Last week was great. It was a wonderful week. At first I got to take a train trip, which is awesome. What a treat that is. You pay an extra $50 to get upgraded to business class. There was 3 people on the entire car because everyone's so freaking cheap. And so we got treated like royalty, got a nice meal, all you can drink, 5 hours of just pure pleasure and leisure and just awesomeness. So that was great. Spent the next day in Montreal at the Train Museum, and
AKA Club Super Sex.
It's one of the best ones in the world. The Expo Rail, it's called, and you get to go on many of the locomotives.
With 1X or just 3?
Sorry.
What, super sex?
Oh, right. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. I see. You're just,
I was very upset to learn that Club Super Sex actually shut down a few years ago. It actually is not open anymore. So that's pretty sad. So
yeah. So anyway, so that was lots of fun. And again, I was literally there was just 10 people there, no screaming little kids. It was just perfect thing. And the rest of the time I was just spending nice time, just walking around downtown, going to the boardwalk. One of my favorite things, one of my favorite French pastries is called the Parisian breast or the Paris breast.
Of course it is.
Yes. Settle down.
Super sex. This is all.
It's all innuendo.
Yeah. So I do enjoy walking to a bakery and asking for 2 Parisian breasts to take home, and
one for each hand.
And it's all on the level.
Sorry, can we get some description of what this pastry is?
Just type it in. It's BREST, and then you'll be all right.
Are they circular? Are they?
They are circular. So there is this. I think it's a city.
I hope so. I'd hate if they were like long and.
So there's a city in Paris called Brest, and they do like every year a bicycle race in that city. So it's called the Paris Brest, I think, or something like that.
Tour de Brest.
Yeah.
Describe it as.
Yeah, I don't know. I know less about the bicycle race and more about the pastry. So
okay.
So I enjoyed that, and and then when I coming home, I made sure to take a connecting train. So that way, I got to take 2 trains home, one to Ottawa, and then back from Ottawa to Toronto. I added an extra 3 hours to the whole trip. Mm-hmm. But boy, what a pleasure it was!
What a hoot!
Yeah, what a hoot!
So,
exactly.
So tell the truth, Victor. When you're riding on the train, are you pretending you're on Snowpiercer?
I'm not. Snowpiercer is a very, very cool show. Everybody should watch it. But no. It was absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so that was my trip to Montreal. Probably more fun stories, but the Parisian breasts are the highlight for me.
Okay. All right.
We have to look up these things.
Mm-hmm. We can tweet that out. All right. So about last week's episode.
Yeah. So back to the episode. First of all, I give it a fresh.
Wow.
There's no doubt about it.
Oh, nice.
Second, I've got lots of beefs with Al and his ridiculous issues with the episode.
I gave it a fresh.
Yeah. That cold open was one of the most fun cold opens that we've had in a long, long time.
Okay.
And the callbacks to the nostalgic 80s and 90s
the wrestling one. Okay.
Was just pure awesomeness. You're poo-pooing on the fact that it wasn't great, and the animal wordplay was more fun.
It was.
No, it was the same. They were equally fun, and I enjoyed the wrestling ones. It was the first time I watched the entire episode from beginning to end, and I understood every single hidden joke and wordplay.
Yeah.
Everything. I understood the animals, which was nice, and I understood the wrestlers, every single one of them. So I really, really enjoyed that. The whole episode was fun, yeah, I mean, it was a great episode.
All right, so that's a true. I mean, we were going to give it a unicorn anyway because Trace was your stand-in. Yeah. Plus, I think he's taking your job for the sponsor mention. He did it.
He nailed it.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Yeah, I listened to the episode. You guys did a great job. It was really fun listening because I don't often get time to listen back to these episodes. So it was fun to actually listen to it as a listener, and it was you guys did great.
Well, there you go. I hope you subscribe, Jack. How was your week?
Pretty boring, to be honest. We are still in heavy lockdown.
Oh no.
This week we can now go and play golf, which is nice, and we can go 15Ks as opposed to 10Ks last week. But what
do you mean you can go 15Ks?
Away from their house.
From my house.
Yeah.
I can go 15.
Yeah, they take their lockdowns way more seriously down there, and that's probably why
do you have an angled race or something? Or how does that work?
That's crazy.
How do they enforce that? Do they have checkpoints? Like, how do they enforce the 15 or the 20 or wherever?
If you get pulled over and if you don't look like you've got a reason to be there.
Oh my.
If you get stopped by someone, so like if I go to the city and go to one of the parks in the city for a walk and I get stopped, not that it probably happens too much to be honest, but if it were to happen, they go, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
you have to have some sort of a reason to be there that's not work or other related. So like, I can still go to work if I need to, and I've got a permit for that. Works issued me one of those. And
but you mentioned 15K, but when the lockdown first started, wasn't it a 5K perimeter?
5.
Yeah.
It was 5 when we got to 10. Now we're at 15.
Yeah.
That's
so because I remember you saying that you wanted to go to some store and it was just beyond your 5K perimeter and you couldn't
Bunnings
go.
is 5.2 Ks, which is like Home Depot. I assume you guys still have still Home Depot in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like our adult play store, which is Bunnings, is 5.2 Ks away.
Wow.
Like we still see friends and stuff. Like you can catch up with one other person, and then if you're all vaccinated, you can catch up with up to 5 people from 2 houses. So your house and one other.
How are your vaccinations going? You have your vaccinations now and
really
everything?
Good. So when we hit, we're over 70% first dose.
Nice.
I think we're between 70 and 80%. When we hit 70% double dose, we get a lot more freedom. And then at 80%, everything more or less opens up again with some precautions, square meter rules and all those sort of things. So my week has been very boring. This is where I've got a computer on this side that's my home gaming PC and podcast and all that sort of stuff. And then just over the back of my screen is my work computer. So this is kind of my life.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about your podcast, a couple of weeks ago, you guys had an earthquake there.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, not too far out of Melbourne. So yeah, I was literally sitting here actually. Funny. But yeah, we had an earthquake at 9 a.m. and we don't get earthquakes in Australia. They just never happen.
Wow.
So it's the first real one in I don't know how many years. And it's probably the biggest recorded one, I think it was. So yeah, it's
I think it was 5.9 or something. I think it was the magnitude.
Wow. So did you feel it?
Yeah, it went for about 30 seconds. And it was kind of weird. Like at first it was, I don't know, do you guys get earthquakes up there?
No.
Not very often. We got
had one in my entire lifetime, and it was just a tremor. I swear to God, I thought it was just a subway passing through.
It was.
I remember it too.
To the rest
It
of the
was like
world.
from Quebec or something.
Yeah,
and
it was from far
it just
away.
rattled here a little bit.
Yeah. Nothing ever happens in Toronto.
No.
Yeah, where I live is the 3rd unit back from the street, and it just sounded like at first it was kind of like a big truck went by the street, which they never do here because it's too far away. But it kind of felt like that for the start, and then it just continued for 30 seconds, and I went, "Oh, is my TV going to fall over, or is something
Wow, that much,
nothing's gonna fall off the
What a
wall?"
trip.
Like it was just it was just unstable, and nothing was sort of violently shaking, but things were rocking around a bit, and then in town somewhere a wall came down on one of the old buildings.
Oh wow.
But no one was hurt or anything.
Oh, that's good.
That was sort of the extent of the damage. No one was hurt, which was great.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you guys are all safe. Since the last time you were here, you've started up a podcast, a community podcast, the Greendale Human Podcasters. How's that going?
Really good. Really good. We're into our 2nd season now. Our seasons are slightly longer than yours.
Yes.
The episodes are a bit longer.
Yeah.
They go, the first season was 25 episodes.
Wow.
So we've just started season 2, but we've got one of your old sponsors on board actually.
That's right. Yeah.
Dennis.
You stole Dennis from us. Damn you.
You getting one of these things?
I think so. I'm excited, actually. I'm really excited.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
We were so excited to get ours.
No, it's going really well. I probably spend way too much time during the week looking at downloads and trying to promote it and everything else because I don't know about. I think at least Matt and Victor and you guys are on Twitter a bit, whereas the guys that are on my podcast are just horrible with it.
Oh, you got a bunch of Tanyas, do you?
Yeah, more or less. More or less. So, but it's going really well.
Yeah, it's
Check
cool.
it out.
I've been enjoying it. And I was on a guest on last season, so that was fun. And for sure, it's been a lot of fun. So well done. I know it's late, but it's early. Actually, this works really well for Jack too. It's morning there, right? So would you like a coffee, Jack?
I love one.
Tanya, would you like a coffee?
Yes.
How about you, Victor?
I'd have a coffee.
And Matt?
Oh, I'm surprised we're having a coffee right now. You said, would you like one? You didn't finish your whole sentence.
One job, Matt. One job. Great, because as
everyone
you know,
was doing well there.
I know. Yeah, that's twice now. You've
blue card.
Oh,
blue card.
I haven't actually cleaned the blue spatula.
Yeah, now Matt gets the blue spatula. All right. As you know, Diabolical coffee is now being served at the produce stand. It is devilishly good coffee and diabolically awesome swag. There's a roast for all tastes and even some you didn't know you wanted. You can order whole bean, coarse, and standard grind and espresso. If you're like Tanya and me, there's a K-cup option for single cup servers, brewers. And for the duration of season 8 of our podcast, you can use a promo code Produce Stand for 10% off anything in the store. That's 10% off all coffee and merch. Thank you, Diabolical Coffee and Eric, for your support this season. And speaking of support, we have 21 new Twitter followers. So welcome to Grace, Charlie Nelson from Red Wing, Minnesota, Daniel Johnson, Do I Smell Toast from Texas, Mike Foley from the United States, Chris Allen, Mark Blewett from Spokane, Washington, Shane Wilson, Rust Belt Baggage from Buffalo, Shaban from Texas, Pork Chop Express from Anytown, USA, Nicole Green from Portland, Oregon, Mass Debaters from Oregon, I Put the Punk in Punctual from Lunchbox Louie's House, Tiffany from Brisbane, Brisbane, Queensland, and notice I said Brisbane, not Brisbane, like other people might say.
Probably me.
Ray from Las Vegas /London/Hogwarts. Aaron Hogue from Hartsville, South Carolina. Jeff Chadwell from Las Vegas. What's with Vegas this week? Bazooka Tooth. Irv Pitzner from Minnesota. And Will Boyles from Lubbock, Texas. Thank you all for following and hopefully for listening.
Previously on Letterkenny.
Last week, we recapped and reviewed episode 4 of season 8, Ferda. And that episode was a unicorn receiving a fresh rating from all of us, even Victor, who wasn't here last week, but he just gave us his rating. According to our scientific Twitter poll, 81.3% of you gave it a fresh and 18.8% gave it a clearance. No composts were given. Tonight, we recap and review episode 5 of season 8, Yard Sale Saturday. Matt, have you done your homework?
Right at the wire, but yes, I have.
As usual. Tanya, have you done your homework?
Yes.
I've done my homework. Victor, have you done your homework?
With glee.
And Jack, have you done your homework?
Definitely.
Attaboy.
Well, don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
All right, we open with Modine's 3 bathroom. Wayne walks in and strikes up I haven't even started yet. Strikes up a conversation with Alexander, who's cleaning.
You have to stop.
Oh.
So when I started watching this,
okay,
it kept getting stuck in like halfway through that scene.
Oh, really?
So part of the fun of that scene is that he keeps repeating the whole story over and over again.
Yeah,
I had to restart it 10 times.
Okay.
Oh my!
So you'll have to count how many times he says that and multiply that by 10, and that's how many times he listens to the open. Please continue.
Victor, you need better internet. I think that's what it sounds like to me. All right, we open in Modine's 3 bathroom. Wayne walks in and strikes up a conversation with Alexander, who's cleaning the bathroom.
Well, fucking Alexander.
This is where the dicks hang out.
Oh, that's right. Gaylor told me you're helping with cleanup here now, eh?
You shake more than once. We know what you're doing.
How long you been at it?
48 fiscal hours.
Boy, that's more than enough time to see a nightmare or two around here, eh?
Sometimes there's shit on the outside of the toilet.
Huh?
Sometimes there's shit on the outside of the toilet.
Is that right?
You think that's bad? You should see the Uranus.
Huh?
You think that's bad? You should see the Uranus.
Did it get pretty hairy over there? Or?
Sometimes there's shit on the outside of the Uranus.
What?
Sometimes there's shit on the outside of the Uranus.
What? Well, how do you think it got there?
Remember how I said sometimes there's shit on the outside of the toilet?
Yeah.
Well, I bet the shit got on the outside of the Uranus the same way the shit got on the outside of the toilet.
Isn't that something?
Oh, Victor is in tears. I've never seen this before. Anyway, McMurray walks in. Alexander makes a funny pun. Out there, you're Canadian. In here, you're European. I love that. McMurray notices the sorry state of the Uranus's and exclaims, "Oh shit, looks like someone unswallowed over there." This triggers Alexander to repeat his whole spiel about how sometimes there's shit outside the toilet to McMurray verbatim. McMurray decides he'd rather just piss outside. Wayne just came in to wash his hands. He decides to go out for a dart instead, but not before Alexander asks one last question.
I know how the shit got on the outside of the toilet and also the Uranus, but why would someone take a shit on the outside of the toilet and also the Uranus?
Cut to Wayne outside on his tractor saying, "'Cause that's where the dicks hang out." And cue the theme. All right. Matt, what did you think of this cold open?
Oh, it was amazing. I fucking loved it. It was...
Victor still.
It was so special. And listen to Victor. I love him for this because I didn't know. I actually thought this might not go Victor's way.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of like a Shoresy thing, but no, he appreciates.
Victor's rested.
Yeah, he's
I'm so
that's
appreciative.
We're seeing arrested Victor as opposed to a stressed out Victor from his new job.
I'm so appreciative of Alexander and his consistency through that whole thing. Like that was like it's almost like they took his lines outside the toilet and outside the Uranus and just played it back on repeat. Like he was, you're right. It was like verbatim, but it wasn't just verbatim. Like the way his mannerism, everything. It was like there wasn't. It was the same thing over, and I loved it, and it was sold so well.
Yeah, the voice the voice cracking at the right spots and stuff. It was really well.
It was so well delivered, and the way Victor's laughing right now is how I was laughing when I watched it. I wanted it more. I wanted someone else to come in and ask what's going on and do it all again. Like it was like, let's play this. So the fact that you got to watch this 10 times over, Victor, by error, is a really serendipitous moment right there. So
it was funny every single time.
This is up there with one of the top cold opens.
Easy.
Absolutely loved it.
Tanya, what do you think?
I'm going to be the odd man out on this one.
I knew you were. I was waiting for it. I could see your face.
Totally. I did. I'm like, what is going on? And why is it repeating over and over again? And I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Like he obviously, there's a speech impediment and I didn't it's not a funny thing to me.
It's Joint Boy's slow learning cousin from.
Well, then that's even worse. That's not funny at all.
Well,
like
we're not laughing at him. We're laughing at what he's saying.
Yeah, I could watch that for 48 fiscal hours.
Yeah, that's not that. Yeah, no, I can't get behind it. I'm sorry, people. Like that's just not a funny thing to me. Like I used to work in.
Make us feel like dicks.
I'm sorry, like guys. Like I used to work in group homes. I have a lot of experience with the speech impediment. Like that's not something that would ever sit there and
Wayne and McMurray aren't talking down to him. They're talking to him as an equal. It's just what he's saying is funny.
Not being disrespectful. I just would have walked out and left.
And I've also worked in the restaurant industry where I had to clean the washrooms.
Where you've seen shit outside the toilet.
And I have seen shit outside the toilet. And I have seen boogers on the wall of the urinal because for some strange reason, that's what happens when you get bored and there's a wall in front of you. So yeah, no, that one failed with me.
I just can't disagree more. It was so funny. It was hilarious. The repetition, the actor who plays Alexander, I wish I got his name. I didn't get his name. Was brilliant. The voice cracking, like Matt said. Yeah, he repeated it over like twice and almost identically, and just everything about. And then McMurray's line, what is it? Oh shit! Looks like someone unswallowed over there.
I missed that one.
That killed me. I love that one.
2 or 3 good lines, I think.
Oh yeah. There's a few good lines there, and the European is also. I mean, as a dad, I appreciate that's a classic dad humor joke right there. So I really enjoyed this cold open. Victor, did Linda watch this with you?
No, she tapped out a few episodes ago,
right.
and unfortunately, it picked up since she tapped out.
Yeah. So she lose her in season 7? Is that what happened?
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. Like I said, I was watching it on repeat, and each time it was just I just was laughing out loud, and it's like, and then you have to understand, like they're mid scene, and then it stops, and you're feeling like, Matt, you know how you felt at the end of the scene, like you wish it would go on. I was in the middle of the scene, and it was cutting out, and so I felt like each time I'm being kind of like a rug is being pulled out from underneath me, but at the same time, it's like painful and it's hurt and it's super funny at the same time. And then when we finally broke through and I got to watch the rest of it, it was like a climax. It was just brilliant. It was brilliant.
You went on an adventure.
Yeah.
I wish I was there with you, buddy.
Oh, man. Jack, what did you think of this cold open?
I really liked it. I know you guys have discussed before about cold opens going like a really long cold open that sort of comes in and out. And I felt like this at the start where he starts to repeat as McMurray comes in, it kind of you go, oh, it's just going to go again. But and because it's so deadpan and because he's so good, it gets funnier and funnier. But McMurray's lines in there are just fantastic. When he comes in, he says something about, oh, your piss now streaming.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too, yeah.
And about, this shit outside the toilet. And I can't remember what he says about, sometimes I spray the bowl a little one, right. Whatever that is. Yeah. Really funny, whatever his line was.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. All right, we move on out of the opening theme into scene 1. The Hicks are hanging out at the produce stand. Katy walks up, asks Wayne what he's up to this afternoon. It seems Wayne's day planner has the afternoon logged, underlined, bolded, and highlighted in italics because it's
Yard Sale Saturday.
Super fucking shooter.
You boys ready to dicker?
Well, you always got a dicker.
Heard McMurray's got a real good spread this year.
How big spread?
Like good size spread.
What, like 2-3 table spread?
No, like 3-5 table spread.
Oh, 3 to 5 tabler.
Gail's table and all our old glassware, so I'll get a set or two.
Well, Katy, you better make sure you got fucking room for another set.
There's plenty of room for another set.
Katy, there's such a thing as too much sets, and a gal ought to be fucking aware of it.
Dan, you still gonna be after old books?
Oh, same as you're just gonna be on the hunts for old pornos, Dierks.
Yeah, I bet the McMurray's got a good spread on their spread.
And there'll be lots of old tins and signage for you, big brother.
Good buddy, how'd that get to be your niche? Old signs and tins.
Well, it's the history of it I like. It's the history, you see.
Where it started, why it started, where it's been.
Squid Dan informs Wayne that Professor Tricia says lots of these old corporations were run by racists and that they should just be left in the waste paper basket where they belong. Wayne tells Dan to tell Professor Tricia that if you don't understand where you came from, you'll never know and understand where you are. The conversation turns to the art of dickering, and Wayne shares with the group the Canadian Picker's Guide to Dickering.
Step 1.
Identify item and recite some history on it to establish genuine interest in said item.
Step 2.
Ask the seller, what are you going to need to have out of that?
Step 3.
No matter what price the seller gives you, tell the seller, well, that sounds like retail to me.
Step 4.
Circle back on step 2 and ask the seller, what's the absolute best you can do on it?
And step 5.
If the seller holds firm, bundle item of interest in with a few other items to get the price down to one you're comfortable paying.
Bob's your uncle.
Masterful.
That's how you fucking dicker.
Well, you always got a dicker.
Katy catches a whiff of something and asks the male Hicks if one of them is wearing perfume. Wayne says it's cologne. Men aren't exposed to wear perfume. Katy says it sounds like someone's going on a date. Wayne clarifies it's not a date. It's a go-along, a walkabout. Rosie came calling. Derry asks whether it's racist to say Rosie looks a whole lot like Princess Jasmine. The comment is ignored, and Wayne insists that they're just taking the dogs for a run. Katy says she's bringing Dierks to the yard sale. Perhaps Rosie would like to come too. This gets a grumble from Wayne. Next scene. At the gym, the Bro Dude rep and her sidekick models show up to get an update from Reilly and Jonesy about their Bro Dude club. Jonesy informs her that they couldn't get the club off the ground. The rep feigns shock and then collects on her bet with the models. That's strike one on Reilly and Jonesy. Their next task is to host a photo shoot. They're to get a photographer, some models, and take pictures to show how they'd like to be portrayed as Bro Dude brand ambassadors. Reilly and Jonesy ask if they can use the Bro Dude models, but the rep shoots them down, even though the models seem interested, which disappoints her. They have 24 hours to complete the task. The rep and models leave. Reilly and Jonesy plan their photo shoot. They decide they're going to need a mega babe. Jonesy suggests Derry's ex-sweetie, Anik. They're both excited about the idea. Reilly wonders if it's racist to say that Derry's ex-sweetie looks like Princess Jasmine. Next scene, at the Skids' lair, the Skids are hanging out. Stuart's admiring his own bicep as is rolled. Ali and Bianca show up in trench coats. They're there to reward Stuart for helping get rid of the drug dealers. And they're there to give him some of that good fucking. Next scene. Back at the farmhouse kitchen, Katy tells Wayne she's off to get Dierks. She notices that Wayne isn't too pleased.
Must have been kind of a weird first impression meeting Dierks the Rippers, eh?
Well, a first impression's a lasting one.
Proceeding with caution.
You're a big girl.
Katy leaves and Squirrely Dan asks Wayne what his problem is with Katy's new sweetie.
I shouldn't air your dirty laundry.
Good guy?
Who? Dierks?
He's a pretty good guy.
Oh, he's a great guy then. Dierks.
Why do you say it like that?
Huh?
His name?
Who? Dierks?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I'm saying Dierks anyway.
Oh, sure as he does.
Say my name.
Derry.
Now his.
Dan.
And what's Katie's new sweetie's name?
Dierks.
Yeah, no, I hear it. Your dude says it a certain way. You hammered really hard on the D.
Did I?
Wayne takes a long, angry swig of his beer. Next scene, Reilly and Jonesy are in their Jeep. Reilly tells Jonesy he slid into Nick's Instagram DMs, asked if she wanted to become a real model. Her response was in French, so he wasn't sure what she said, but he gave her his email address, which has a translation option. Jonesy asked what her response was. Her response didn't need translation. It's just a bunch of her modeling shots. This elicits a bunch of views from Reilly and Jonesy. Next scene, out in front of the McMurray's house, they're all set up for the yard sale. McMurray's inspecting a penis-shaped bottle opener when the Hicks walk up with Rosie. Mrs. McMurray offers Wayne's date a drink, but both Wayne and Rosie respond that they're not on a date. Derry and Squirrely Dan compliment McMurray on his spread.
Oh, it's a good spread.
As advertised.
Well, it's a great spread.
Well, what were you expecting?
Honestly,
Should always be honest.
I thought I was coming over here to see 2-3 banquet tables and a card table on each end.
Oh, no, sir.
But now I come over here and I see 5 banquet tables with a card table on each end.
Once you become predictable, Wayne, you become unbeatable.
Derry starts touching the merchandise and McMurray scolds him to look with his eyes, not his hands. At that exact moment, Wayne picks up an item without getting scolded, which upsets Derry. The item is an antique cigarette case from Top Tobacco Canada, founded in the early 1900s, one of Canada's first tobacco distributors. Wayne gets to dickering.
McMurray, what are you going to need to have out of that?
Oh, that's a $50 bill in a day of the week, Chief.
See, now that sounds like retail to me.
Look here, Chief. You said yourself it's a beautiful piece, given the condition of it and the historical value attached to it.
50, you say?
Mm-hmm.
McMurray, what's the absolute best you can do on it?
Well, being an avid collector myself, Wayne, I can't see myself parting it with any less than a 50 note.
Why don't we
Why don't you bundle a few items together, Big Dan?
Oh, Long Dick Dierks.
Pardon?
Long dick or Dierks today, tight shirt, huge pecs. Just see if you can get the price down just a wee bit for him there, boo-boo kitty fuck. Let's keep this thing civil, very square.
Now that is how you dicker. You old coonhound. You can learn something from him, Wayne.
This predictably doesn't go over well with Wayne. Dierks comes bearing beer. He offers everyone a bottle. This warms everyone up to him, except Wayne. Mrs. McMurray and Rosie come out of the house with cocksucking gins and tonics. She sees Dierks and immediately flirts with him. Dierks asks if it's racist that he thinks she looks like Princess Jasmine. Mrs. McMurray asks for a hug. Dierks obliges because he's fucking Hugs Bunny. It's a long, awkward hug. Dierks gives Squirrely Dan a hug too, calling him a gigantic cure for loneliness. Then Dierks notices Rosie.
And you must be Rosie?
Then I will be.
You're the tamest one, didn't you? Look at you fucking cowboy, you. You know, break my heart.
More grumbling from Wayne. Next scene, Anik is at the gym for Reilly and Jonesy's bro dude photo shoot, and things aren't going quite as she expected.
Where are the lights?
On the ceiling where they generally are.
Where's the production team?
You are looking at them.
And where's the camera?
Oh, we figured we'd just take a selfie, but don't worry, we've taken hundreds of them.
Thousands.
Tens of thousands.
We've taken 10,000 selfies.
Let's recap. Broadwood Energies hired me for a photo shoot with no camera.
Just this guy.
And no lighting.
Still on the ceiling where they generally are.
And no one from Broadwood Energies even here. Just us. I see 2 dudes in Broadwood hats.
Reilly and Jonesy assure Anik that once they prove to Bro Dude that they can ambassadise. They're going to the tippity top and taking Anik with them. Anik reluctantly agrees. All that's left to do is to brainstorm the vision for their photo shoot.
Anik, we have this sort of creative vision in mind, but first we like to ask, what would you say is like the allure? Nice, buddy. What would you say is the biggest part of the allure to your racy Instagram?
Tits.
Titties! We also thought that was a major factor. Not the only factor. Dudes love titties.
Dudes love titties, boys.
Vous l'avez entendu ici en premier?
Oui.
Translation, what she says at the end there. She says, you heard it here first. Next scene, a music montage of Stuart, Ali, and Bianca doing some of that good fucking. Stuart listens in while doing rips. Next scene, the Hicks arrive at Modine's 3 with Rosie and Dierks in tow to check out Gail and Glenn's spread. Gail invites Dierks to see her spread, which he compliments as being substantial, very specific. Enter Glenn, who's blowing on 2 recorders at the same time.
Look at you. You're like a little Leo DiCaprio, or like a heathen Christian Bale, or like a Johnny Deppity Depp mixed in with the last of the Mohicans, Danny Day-Lewis, and a hint of Eddie Norton and Fight Club, and a soup saw, Jay Bourne, Matty Damon, and it's working for me.
This is Dierks.
Dierks. Hi.
Dirk of the berry, sweeter the juice.
Now, you're like a little Hugh Jackman, Bradley Pitt, stick of Harry Ford, makes me want to Hugh Dancy till I get Tom Hardy.
Katy says she wouldn't kick Dierks out of bed for eating crackers. This gets a grumble from Wayne, but Rosie calms him down with a little slap on the butt. Derry asks about Gail's porn collection. Gail delivers with late 70s, early 80s Playboys, which have more bush in them than Christmas Tree Farm. Squirrely Dan asks about the used books collection, and that's Glenn's department. He's got a bunch of books from the church's library. Katy finds some original Modine's glassware. Wayne starts dickering, but Dierks interrupts and dickers for the glassware himself to impress Katy with his knowledge of Modine's history.
Modine's one, establishment 80s, you were saying.
You were listening.
First drinking establishment in town to have a dance floor. Very conducive, very considerate.
Very crucial.
Very constructive, very cooperative.
Somebody tie my dick to my leg.
Gorgeous Gail, what are you going to need to have out of that?
Take him.
Well, thank you for not giving me the retail price, but seriously, what's the absolute best you can do on them?
Take him. Take me.
I think this is the most fired up I've ever seen her.
Should we bundle a few items together?
I'm surprised we're not bundling a few items together right now.
At Katy's comment, Wayne starts grumbling again and again. Rosie settles him down with a slap on the butt. Scene 10. Back at the gym, Reilly and Jonesy present the fruits of their Photoshop, so to speak. Photo shoot, that's what I meant. The picture they show is of Anik's bust with a black bra and Reilly and Jonesy's head on each breast looking up at a bro dude logo in Anik's cleavage. Anik is embarrassed.
Oh, sac.
Right? Sac of bleu.
Zut alors!
Baguette.
La bibliothèque!
Passport.
Wait.
Soup de jour.
La foncée!
Okay.
Do you have the original photo without the tit faces?
We do. We wanted to show you the entire process
Let me see.
went through.
A Star is Born.
Great movie.
Terrible song though. Like, why does everyone have to fucking sing now?
I'm talking to her. Name? Doesn't matter. I'd like to offer you and your tits a 6-figure bro dude energy contract. What are your thoughts?
Allons-y.
Good. You're both fired.
The bro dude models are dismissed and Reilly and Jonesy are relieved of their bro duties. The rep leaves with Anik, who gives a final you before leaving. Next scene. The Hicks are back at the produce stand. Katy and Dierks pull up to the laneway. Dierks informs Wayne and the Hicks that they ran into a couple of dudes from out west in town looking at yard sales, and he thought Wayne could point them in the right direction. Just then, a white van pulls up with the Canadian Pickers logo on the side. From the van emerges Sheldon Smithers and Scott Cousins, the hosts of the Canadian Pictures show. Wayne jumps up to shake their hands and welcomes them to fucking Letterkenny. The rest of the Hicks gush over their guests, complimenting them on their show.
Scott can be a little aggressive dickering, but we always leave with a smile on our face.
Just gotta know how to dicker.
Well, you always got a dicker.
Speaking of dickering, that fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty. I can see there's a little bird's eye maple, and I can smell the cherry wood from here.
Smells like Ontario, eh, Shell?
It's a beauty.
So, Wayne, what are you gonna need out of it?
Oh, fellas, she's not for sale, but fuck.
Time and materials, I'd put her at about 2,500.
Yikes, that sounds like retail to me. Okay, Wayne, what's the absolute best you can do for a couple of pickers out of Calgary?
Fellas, I'd really like to help yous out, but I can't part with it. The history's just too important around here.
If you don't understand where you came from,
You'll never understand where you are.
Fair enough.
Wayne offers the Canadian pickers some fresh produce for the road, and they dicker him up to a couple of beers as well, which the Hicks happily oblige. Final scene, Wayne is in the barn moving barley when Dierks enters, causing Wayne to violently throw one of the bales. Suddenly his phone rings. It's Marie Fred. Dierks asks if he needs to answer it. Wayne tells him to mind his beeswax. Dierks offers Wayne a hand with the hay. Wayne corrects him. It's fucking barley. Dierks tries one final time to charm Wayne.
That's an incredibly sexy big dad. I know it was a bit of a weird first impression getting to know me at the strip club. Very weird. Very weird, very weighty.
A first impression's a lasting one.
Well, Katy.
Katy's a big girl.
When I'm out there representing me, just out having a giggle, putting on a show for the boys, really not that guy.
Good.
You can trust me, cute.
Yeah, okay.
You don't trust me, huh?
A snake can shed its skin, but it's still a snake.
Katy's
a girl who knows exactly what she wants. So if anything, you ought to have an eye.
Okay.
And here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you, if you misstep, you'll have every dude in Letterkenny lined up around the block for you.
Won't misstep.
And I'll be coming first.
Guy walks into a bar. It's a terrorist behind the bar. Guy says to the terrorist, I'll have a vodka on the rocks. Terrorist picks up a single ice cube in one hand and says, oh, you like ice? Guy says, yeah, but more than one piece. Terrorist scoops up a handful of ice in the other hand and says, oh, so you like ISIS?
Get the fuck out of here.
And we fade to black. All right. Matt, you get to go first, and you're not following Victor, so it's all you, bud.
Oh, welcome to fucking Letterkenny. Man, would somebody just tie my dick to my leg? Because that produce stand right there, she's a beauty. This one, I loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, I won't give my rating, but it was so much fucking fun.
To compost,
and everything about this one. I mean, the intro, again, it was right in there. It was one of my favorites. Tanya, I get your main argument why you don't like the intro, but I'm able to look beyond that, and I loved it. I thought all the stories in this one continued on well and gave us a lot to work with, so that was exciting. The picking thing. So I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this kind of shit. It's like some of my favorite shows.
You don't
I was
say.
a big. I know. I get it.
Did you watch? Do you watch Canadian Pickers?
I have. Yeah, I have. I watched even before that. I mean, they had American Pickers too. Any American listeners would know that. Big fan of that show. Pawn Stars has always been one of my absolute favorite shows I've ever seen. I've always said if I go to Vegas, one of the key stops, skip everything else. I know it's in a dive part of town. I want to go to their pawn shop just to say I went there. Like, I am obsessed with that because I'm always interested in the stories, the history. Just a day out, like Jen and I do this on the regular, pre-COVID, of course. There's a few antique markets and things in the Toronto area that I love going, and I rarely ever actually buy anything because I'm cheap as fuck. But I love to look and I love to touch and I love to just try to figure out what things are and appreciate. What's that? Yeah. It's right. Thank you. Yeah, you got me. And I love it. So this one made me really happy. This one was really close to home. Like I've done. Why are you pointing at me?
Sorry, no, I just wanted to
Why are you pointing at
quickly
me?
interrupt. So outside of Canada, Canadian Pickers was called the Cash Cowboys. So that might make it more familiar maybe to our American and or Australian listeners.
Canadian Pickers, then, yeah.
Oh, were they Canadian Pickers as well?
It was American Pickers and Canadian Pickers when I was on telly.
Okay, according to their Wikipedia, and it's got a picture of them, and it's got Cash Cowboys as well as, I guess, an alternate title to the show.
I love it. I mean, these kind of things, you find the most interesting items in the most unique places that really speak to a lot of the character of the area you're in as well. So, you know, if I go on a vacation, skip the gift shop, show me a place like this. I want to see what's there. I want to know. I want to learn your whole story just by looking at the weird antique stuff you have sitting in a garage or a barn or something or a table lined up. It's so much fun. So this one I really enjoyed because I connected with this and even the techniques they're doing. I go through most of those motions if and when I do choose to buy things. That's basically my same routine. Maybe I learned it naturally through all these shows I watch, but no, it was really good. So no, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think of Madagascar on this because you and your yard sales and your skills. And we should have watched this last week when we were trying to sell that bedroom set because like maybe that would have been a little bit better.
That's right. This aligns well, doesn't it?
Just like you, I grew up watching this stuff. The Canadian Roadshow, that was a big one in my house.
Yeah.
And going to the antiques, like the barns and the auction houses and stuff like that, and seeing the different things that had, so much history and so much amazing story behind it. So I liked it for that aspect as well. The whole Rosie thing, though, again, I really got stuck on it. It's like she's got a completely different personality. She's almost completely unrecognizable from the first round that she was when she was on the show. And I'm kind of wondering, and it makes me kind of think, she must have come back from her mission with the dogs and stuff. And I wonder if she caught wind that, Wayne and Tanis were together, and Tanis is a strong personality. And I'm wondering if that's why Rosie has kind of adjusted her, like if she's trying to be this other person. And that's why they've taken her storyline somewhere different. Because like Rosie would never have gone for a drink with Mrs. McMurray before. Like she was more like interested in going and reading a book. And there she is like blatantly smacking Wayne's ass when, she knows that he's kind of getting riled up. And I'm thinking she wouldn't have done that before. Like she was so calm and so quiet and so collected before. She wasn't that kind of spirited, kind of calm down and smack your ass kind of thing.
I don't think we saw enough of her the first time around. I think there was only a few scenes that kind of hinted at that. But I think they were still getting it on. Like there was, there's one scene in particular where Wayne shows up at her door the first time around that I remember, and there wasn't to read a book, So I don't think we saw enough of them the first time around. I think this time we're just seeing more Rosie, and they're probably also, trying to make this, they want her to be the pair, the ship for Wayne, because Tanis and Marie Fred aren't. So I don't know.
Right. I just wanted to say though, too, like what the hell was the ending about? I have to ask the question.
Dierks' story, ISIS story?
His ISIS story.
Yeah.
Like I didn't quite get where that came from.
I think again,
what that was
I think
about.
it's just him trying to be his version of charming, and it failed, and it fails miserably with Wayne. I'm going to
get a take on that.
What's that? Go ahead.
Oh. So I think that he was trying to be charming the whole time until right at the end where he clearly knew that he wasn't going to win Wayne over.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, well, you're going to threaten me, I'll threaten you.
You think that was a threat? You think it was a threat?
I think so. Well, he ends the episode like this, like full fist up.
It's a good point.
I think it's like after Wayne said, I'll be coming first, like the whole town's, you misstep.
That's a good point.
He tried to be charming, and even in the barn, he started with charm, and then Wayne's like, buddy,
it's not going to work.
I'm seeing through you. And so he's like, well, if you're going to threaten me, hey, you know what? I'm here.
That's a good point. Maybe he's trying to appeal to Wayne then with his sense of,
that makes the most sense, Jack, because I was just like, what the hell was that?
Wouldn't have done that in front of everyone else.
Right. Just in front of Wayne in private. Yeah.
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 All right.
Okay. So, I mean,
point Jack.
Yeah, Point Jack. I really enjoyed this episode. The cold open I thought was hilarious. I think Tanya, you missed the point. We're not laughing at Alexander. We're laughing at his story and what he's saying. But we're not laughing.
I know
at
you guys aren't laughing
Yeah.
at him. I just didn't think what was happening was funny.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, the yard sale storyline, I love it. I mean, that's so small town. I mean, this past summer we went to a giant yard sale.
Yeah, we did
in Grand Valley, where like it's a small town and everyone had their tables set up outside and everyone was walking around dickering and yeah, it's totally what happens in small towns.
That's totally true.
The skid story, I found it funny. It's just there wasn't a lot, there weren't a lot of quotes to pull from, but I thought it was funny. You know, getting some of that good fucking like that whole scene, that whole montage was hilarious because at one point, Stuart, you know, releases. Another point, it looks like he's about to cry.
Pain.
Well, yeah, he's crying. He's in pain. He's crying. He's going through all sorts of emotions. Yeah. And then
that was a highly sexual scene.
It was very good
for Letterkenny.
Well, it was highly, but
well
then
done for their theme.
Yeah.
But it was only faces and feet, really.
Yeah, it was highly sexual, but then they throw in that scene of him kissing his own bicep just to, you know, because it's Skids and because it's Letterkenny. So that was kind of fun. The Reilly and Jonesy stuff, I know, Tanya, you're going to still feel bad for them, but holy fuck, that was funny, especially when Anik is there and she's like, where's the lighting? And Reilly keeps on, it's up on the ceiling where it always is. Like, they don't get it. They don't get what they're supposed to be doing. Like, it's just they're
still there.
They're
still
so
on the
dim.
ceiling.
I love the way he did that. And then Wayne and Rosie, I'm having fun watching this. I mean, yes, it's a kind of a more forward version of Rosie. But yeah, she's like Dierks said, she's tamed that cowboy, and you know, I think that's the beginning of that ship, or the restart of that ship. Anyway,
I just hope it's not a rebound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. Victor, what did you think?
Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that cold open for me goes right up into the top 3 probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could watch that over and over and over again.
And you did.
And I did. And I did, and I could have watched it again. Mm-hmm. So Tanya, I really feel like you're on your own. If you do a Twitter poll, I think you'll be out in the ocean by yourself with that one. Well, you and your figurines.
Yeah, and I love that I got to say "get off my dick." So love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that opportunity.
No, it's all good. So I mean, what a great start. And then everything else was great. I mean, for me, the skit scene was a bit of a throwaway. I'm not really getting too much from that storyline, and even that whole montage, it was, I guess, a little bit amusing. But I just, for me, it was like, and then seeing Raul, like, feeling, I guess, sad that he's not part of it.
Maybe.
I guess.
Well, he's doing rips. He's doing rips while.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, for me, that was kind of just like, it was there. It didn't really add or to the episode for me. But even without it, with it or without it, it was just so good. Mm-hmm. The yard sales, I mean, that's part of my childhood. I remember cutting out all of the garage sale ads from the newspaper for my dad, and then he would make a map. This is before GPS. He would make a map based on all of the locations, so that he could track out the route of going to each garage sale based on the cutouts. And then he would do that every Saturday and Sunday. Like, he could wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to be the first one to hit all the garage sales. And that's how I had all my stuff. I had like the best bicycles. I had the best telescopes. I had the best train sets. I had everything from garage sales. Yep. And it was like it was the really premium stuff, because he would go to all these expensive neighborhoods out of town and pick up all this stuff that we would have been able to afford at retail. So and that's how I learned how to barter. So or dicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that was super awesome. The whole Rosie thing, I don't know. I feel like we didn't really know her before, and now we're starting to get to know her. So I don't know that there's really a comparison there. And Dirk, I mean, I think he was great in this episode.
Yes, he was really good.
I think it was a real standout. So if we're going to isolate him just for this episode, he definitely stood out for me.
I had a point to make, and it's lost now. But yeah, Dierks was definitely a standout. Like, he's so slimy, but in such a good way.
Yeah.
But do you buy that he's winning everyone else over other than Wayne? Do you buy that no one else sees his act? Like, it's obviously an act, right?
But I think everyone was fooled by it. Like, McMurray was really nice to him, Mrs. McMurray, Dan, Darry, even Gail and stuff. Like, Gail was over the top, but as she always, but everyone was really nice to him, and no one was sort of apprehensive at any point.
Yeah,
except for
Dan wouldn't see it because he wasn't there at the strip club.
But
so it would have been Derry, but Derry fell in love with the stripper.
Right.
So really,
that's right.
He's not a good source. Derry.
I love Dierks has some great lines here. What he calls Squirrely Dan, you giant cure for loneliness when he goes in for a hug was just so great.
I still love the boo boo kitty fuck.
Yeah.
That line.
Write that down. Yeah. I nearly came in with that today.
Oh, what, boo boo kitty fuck?
Yeah.
That's Jay and Silent Bob.
Is it?
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah,
it was Jay from the Jay and Silent Bob kickback or strike back movie, whatever it was called. That's what he calls the girl he's into in the movie. He can't seem to say her name, but he comes at boo boo kitty fuck, and that becomes her name the rest of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Jack, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. It was good from start to finish. It progressed really well. The cold open was really good. It was interesting that I didn't realize until I did some looking up. I went, we see Alexander in the pilot, but this is the first time he appears since then, which I thought was kind of weird. It's his first talking role, and because Alexander gets kicked into the trash bag.
I remember him in the pilot.
In the pilot, he's the one who goes outside, takes a piss with his pants down, and he gets pushed by Angie's boyfriend, and that's why Wayne beats him up. He's he's Joint Boy's slow learning cousin. So remember so you go to that scene, and then you fast forward to the super soft birthday when Joint Boy goes to fight him for the throne of the toughest guy in Letterkenny. Joint Boy says, "You defended my cousin. We don't have to fight if you don't want to. I owe you one." And Wayne says, "I don't know you shit because I don't know who you are." And they end up fighting anyway. But that's Alexander. So there's history there.
I thought that was...
Did not know that.
Yeah. I believe Alexander does show up quickly in another scene between here and then, but I for the life of me, I can't remember specifically where. But yeah, he's also...
I thought that was a really cool callback.
When in episode 1 again, when Wayne and McMurray are at the urinal and McMurray's giving him the Bieber eyes and stuff. If you guys think back to back then, I think Alexander walks in and he delivers that line then. This is where the dicks hang out in episode 1. So that was a callback to that line as well.
But yeah, there were some really good quips in there. There's a few offhand sort of jokes that I really liked. The Reilly and Jonesy, when she calls him 5'11" again, which is a Shawsy throw out line.
Yeah.
And I think Reilly turns to Jonesy and says, "Did you think Bush did 5'11"?
Right. Yeah.
As in 9/11. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I liked all the storylines. Obviously, the Skids one is progressing through. Roald is sort of excluded there, and so that's moving that alone. That was really funny. I did write down that he kissed his bicep during sex.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic. And having sex with the beanie on was kind of odd.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was really cool. The look that Darry gives McMurray when he says, "Look with your."
Yeah.
Look with your eyes. And then Wayne immediately proceeds to pick something up. And he's just like,
what the hell?
I'm here. I'm right here. I didn't really... The only thing that I didn't get out of this episode is the Princess Jasmine.
Okay.
I got it on a couple of them because I went, okay, yeah, they kind of, maybe they look like Princess Jasmine a little bit, but then they reference it to people that clearly don't look like Princess Jasmine.
So there's a couple of Disney references that are going to be brought up in this one and then in the future episodes. I believe this is the writers poking fun at Reilly, the Dylan Playfair, because Dylan Playfair has been in a few Disney movies playing. He play in the Descendants movies. He's like singing and dancing in the Descendants.
Yeah.
Playing Gaston's son. So I think that's them kind of poking fun at him because he's like basically a Disney star. And so whenever you hear any out of place Disney references, I think I read this somewhere that it's them just kind of making fun of him, saying that he's like he's on Letterkenny and he's a hick or hockey player on Letterkenny. Meanwhile, he's doing the singing and dancing in Disney movies, and it's just quite the.
Yeah, it's just something that sort of, because obviously they reference it like 5 or 6 times this episode, but because
they don't make sense, right? Not like
people that weren't anything looking like Princess Jasmine.
Yeah, it doesn't make if any like maybe if you want to stretch it, Rosie can maybe look, but none of the others. So it all has to do with them making fun of Dylan Playfair that he's a Disney prince.
One other thing that I noticed this week that I don't know how I didn't notice before, but every time they're in the gym, there are just people working out in the back. How hard must that be as an extra if you're depending how many shoots you have to do, you're sitting there doing multiple reps of whatever activity you're doing.
Yeah, you're buff after Dave's shooting for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Very good.
Just something I thought of, but I'd never really thought of before. Because I was watching more in depth.
Right.
Well, they might be dummy dumbbells.
Maybe. That's not a nice thing to refer to. Reilly Jonesy is. Anyway, let's move on to ratings. Matt, what do you give this episode?
So, I mean, I'll jump to my rating and then I'll talk for a minute. It's an easy 100% fresh. This was an amazing episode, start to finish. There was a few other things. So I'm glad you called the Princess Jasmine thing. That thing tripped me out. I was wondering where that came from. I thought maybe it was almost like hey, they're all beautiful. We don't see color, just Jasmine's related to beauty. So it just became that kind of, but hey, I like the other version, sounds fun too. So I don't know, it tripped me up, but it didn't hold me back. The other two we haven't mentioned, I think almost at all here. And I'm continuing, especially this season for Roald. And I mean, all along for Glenn is, I am continually impressed by those two. And I don't think I've ever really given either one of them enough credit, but they are fantastic in their ability to deliver humor and from the way they speak to their timing. Glenn,
and Gail too. I mean,
but Gail, okay, sure. So let's add Gail to this conversation. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, the one that caught me the most today was Glenn, and his delivery with the 2 recorders in his mouth. I literally cannot think of another human being who could deliver what he did in that scene with the same kind of entertainment value. And he's so good. And I think we need to acknowledge that for a second. And this one, I need more Glenn. I've learned to really love that character. And when I get the little glimpses and he comes, I'm here we go. And then he doesn't disappoint. So I love it. The last comment I'll make is at the end. I really love I love this episode from start to finish, but I love it because it felt very genuine. Everything about the episode seemed very honest, small town, loyalty aspects to it. And then you get to the end and you got Wayne and Dierks in this room. And when they're sort of challenging what's going on, this is a different kind of dynamic than you normally see in these kind of situations. Because the second Dierks questioned Katy, immediately Wayne's like, she's a grown woman. Like basically she knows what the fuck she's doing. I trust her wholly. I just don't like you. Like it wasn't even a concern to him that something might happen to her. I mean, he did call it out. You'll have every person Letterkenny, but he doesn't seem concerned in the slightest because he has nothing but absolute respect and trust in his sister that she will do her thing. And maybe it's just fun. Yeah. Maybe it's more, but she'll make the right decision and I'm good with her. I just don't like you.
He even goes as far as saying, if anyone should be worried, it's you when it comes to, So for sure.
It's not a protection thing as much as it is just, I don't like you.
Yeah.
And she'll do her thing and I'm good with that, but I don't like you.
Yeah. Very good.
So, but all that, I mean, those are just a few things we hadn't talked about. I wanted to make comment to. It was so good. This was such a fantastic episode.
Agreed. Tam?
Absolutely fresh.
I I know that Alan and I keep on referring to Dierks in various conversations, saying, very good, very nice, very good.
You've been doing that a lot lately.
I really have. I'm very sleep deprived. But I did want to add that we have another time reference, because didn't Katy say that she was going to go pick Dierks up and that he was 2 hours away?
And a half.
Yeah, an hour and a half away. Yeah,
an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
That's
So
right.
again, we're narrowing the window of.
All right, so there's no way they're getting to Quebec in the time they're talking.
No, I mean, they're using the portal. And Anik and Reilly and Jonesy calling Nick for a photo. So once again, they're not an hour and a half away from Michigan, and also only a couple hours from Quebec. That's physically impossible.
Yeah,
that makes no.
They're not on the same map that we're on.
Yeah, no. Well, again, they're using the produce stand portal for one of those anyway. Probably for the Quebec trips. But anyway, yeah, good point.
This episode had a lot of great lines, like the whole boo boo kitty fuck.
Boo boo kitty fuck.
I never watched the other show, so this was my first time hearing that. So I thought that was really funny. Gail saying, "Someone tie my dick to my leg." Hilarious. Glenn and him going off just in front of everyone and not even like trying to be a little, discreet about it.
No.
He was like full out, all wanting to get on top of Dierks. The produce stand, that's a beauty, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, oh my God, that's in the clip. So anyways, I got excited with that one too.
I did the same thing. I never knew where it came from in the show. When I heard it, I got a little giddy for a second.
Right?
Like, that's our show.
That's on the sound clip.
Shout out to Awesome who helped me find that clip. I was looking for clips of the Hicks saying produce stand because I wanted to do a bit of an intro, and I couldn't find one like of each hick, but I found that, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to use that because that's perfect.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Yeah. So it had a lot of great comments and the yard sale thing and I think Dierks just kept on stepping on Wayne's dick, like really the whole thing, like he just kept on one-upping him and getting in front of him, and you don't do that to Wayne. I agree with you guys that Wayne backed his sister up, and she's a big girl and she'll make her own decisions, and that's not the fight that needs to happen, and that it's on him to watch himself, right? Yeah. So I do like that. So it's a challenging one for me because I didn't love the opening, but the rest of it I thought was pretty solid. So I'm gonna go with the fresh still.
All right, yay. Fresh.
Even though it's a low fresh, just because the opening, I couldn't get behind that.
Okay, well, as Victor says, though, the cold open should have nothing to do with the rest of the episode. So there you go.
I mean, that doesn't make sense either. But
no,
in this time, if it supports the fresh,
exactly, yeah. I mean, it's such an easy fresh. I think last week I said last week's episode was the best of the season and of last season probably, and I think this episode now has surpassed that. I think we're an upward trend again. This is me now talking.
Yeah.
And we're an upward trend now where each subsequent, for the last 3 episodes, I'd say each subsequent episode has gotten better and better. When I saw Gail and Glenn in this one, I got excited because I thought, all right, I think Victor will be on board with this one because I know how much he likes Glenn and Gail and Tanya too. I thought you would like it because of the whole yard sale angle.
I did.
And I thought Matt would like it because of the whole Canadian Pickers angle. So I think it had something for everybody. Yeah, it was great. So what did you think of, I mean, you're always on Reilly and Jonesy's side. You're Mama Bear. You want to protect them.
They're freaking hilarious on this one. No, him referring to the lights, like, come on, dude. Like, right.
The ceiling,
like, I know you have some moments that, I need to be in your corner, but come on, like the photo shoot. Yeah, dude, there's lighting involved.
And it was cool to see Anik back. I mean, that was fun to see her come back, even if it was just for this quick episode. So that was great. So yes, absolute fresh. Victor, what do you give this?
Well, so, there's really no arguing with this one. It's a fresh, and I was concerned there for a second.
Wait.
We'll let you finish in a second.
Oh my God. That was a little premature there, Greg.
No, this fresh is in the book.
Nothing.
All right. Well, Victor,
It's been a while since we've enjoyed
Victor
that.
switched his background to the unicorn. I had to play the.
Just like with a cold open, I had to wait. I had to wait to climax. I'm going to wait again.
To climax.
That's all right.
Go ahead, Victor.
Oh man, what a fun episode! And I do agree, Al, that they have been getting progressively better. And last week was definitely a fresh, but this one I enjoyed even more. I think last week again, I really enjoyed the wrestling angle and the animals. But in terms of the story and just everything else, I really this episode was really great. The skids were again for me a bit of a throwaway, but everything else was just on point. And you know, you guys already said it all. We don't need to rehash it, but it was a really fun, beautiful. This is why people love Letterkenny. Like the last two episodes, that's getting back to the basics, getting back to, you know, what really makes the show great. And again, what the thing is, the camaraderie, right? The camaraderie amongst the group. And the fact that, you know, behind whether, you know, you think you're buying it or not with Dierks, that, you know, that everyone's got Katy's back. And they're just waiting for the opportunity. and it's just, it's everything is so fun. And like, I think it was what Tanya said it. He was, Dierks was getting on Wayne's dick on every single scene. And it's just building and building and building, and you know that there's going to be some great comeuppance at the end. It's building.
Comeuppance.
That seems to be a t-shirt.
Yeah, comeuppance.
And he wasn't getting on Wayne's dick; he was stepping on it.
Oh,
whatever. I'm not up with the dick.
The word of the year.
Comeuppance.
Anyway, yeah, so easy, fresh, just so much fun, and I just can't wait till the next episode.
I think Trace last week put it best when he said, you know, early at Letterkenny, there were a lot of standalone episodes which were great, like that's why we loved it, and then they tried to do this season-long arcs, and that's where we kind of lost them for a bit. They kind of lost their way, but now it seems like they've mastered the one-off episodes, but still having the season-long arcs. For some reason, they figured it out. I think they figured out the formula, and that's probably why it's
got that balance right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they got away from it a bit in seasons 6 and 7, and they're getting that back now. Jack, what do you give this?
Yeah, look, I give it a fresh. This is a great episode. The whole Canadian Pickers theme throughout is that it harks back to the Dragon's Den in season 1. And I think they tried another one at some point that didn't quite land. At some point, I can't remember exactly which episode that was, but you know, this nailed that theme episode again. And to actually have the Canadian Pickers come on was a really good note. Like that seals it, if anything. But yeah, you're right. All the scenes played really well together. They all progress the story, but are funny on their own. And you can watch this episode, you know, I haven't watched the last couple of weeks because I've been super busy at work. But I you know, I've been listening to the podcast, but I knew enough to watch this episode and not miss anything. And I feel that I could watch another episode and it doesn't matter. Like you can just drop into this and then come out of it and you get what's going on without having to see it. Like you could show it to a random person and go, this is Letterkenny, and they go, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I turned on a buddy of mine onto the show, and he's like, well, you know, he couldn't believe. It's like, how have not heard this show before? So he's a new fan too.
And that's what makes the Corner Gas so funny and so great. You can watch any episode out of any season, out of any order, and it's got a beginning, middle, and end, and it leaves you happy. And that, I feel like Letterkenny, it works best that way as well.
All right, let's move on to quickly because we're running a little long here. Top fives. Matt, does this break your top 5?
It does.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm going to knock off, I think it's number 5, which is Valentine's Day. and I'm going to swap this in there. This one, I just loved it. I really loved it, and it deserves a top 5 noted.
All right. I think it's the first time an episode's made any of our top 5s in a couple of seasons since Dierks slip out. Tanya, no. I don't think so. It doesn't break my top 5 yet either, but that's just because my top 5 is really, really, really solid. But it's close. This one's definitely like a top 10 episode for me for sure. Victor?
I mean, if we were rating a cold opens, then that would be an easy yes. But as an episode, it's probably in my top 10, but not my top 5.
Yeah. Okay. And Jack, I can't remember if you've given us your top 5 before, but feel free to.
It was probably a long time ago. I did it this week.
Oh, perfect.
I wrote it down. So I've got Dick Slip Out as number 1. Fuss at the Golf Course, number 2. Super Soft Birthday, number 3. It was going to be Uncle Eddie's Trust until this week's, but that I think having the Canadian pick is like it's the same sort of format, and I really love it. But this week's overrules that one, and then Le Hicks as number 5.
Oh, wow, very good.
It's a good list.
Yeah, a solid list. Okay, and let's move on quickly then to MVPs. Matt, who's your MVP for this one?
I'm going to give it to Alexander, man. Like,
you know what?
Cold Open was so dynamite. There was so many good people in this episode, but I got to give it to my boy. That guy just delivered on repeat, and it was so epic.
Tanya?
I don't know.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, all right.
I know.
It's always,
it always surprises me.
Does she forget that we do this every week?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, we'll get back to you. So
I don't have one.
I was going to give it to Dierks because I thought he really had some great lines in this episode. But Matt, you reminded me, Alexander was in this episode too, and he made that cold open. He was so fucking good. So I'm torn. But since you already gave it to Alexander, I'll stick with Dierks. I'm going to give it to Dierks. Victor?
Well, I was going to give it to Dierks all along, and I'm going to stick with Dierks because, he was, and I feel like this is the only time he's going to get a chance to shine because I feel like a storm is coming. So I'm going to give him his 50 minutes of fame now, and
maybe give him a hug before the storm hits.
Exactly, before the loneliness comes.
Jack?
I'm going to go with I think it was Reilly with the lights are on the ceiling. I watched this episode a couple of times this week, and every time it had me rolling on the floor. It was just so good.
By the way, you have to give it to them for their Photoshop skills. I don't know which one would.
No, that was Jonesy's billet sister who did the photoshopping.
Oh, okay, that's right. I was distracted.
Yeah. And the fact that when they didn't get each other, like the two dudes in bro dude caps, and they went.
Yeah. They looked at each other.
They looked around.
Us.
You and me. Oh, I get it.
That's so great. We're back to you, Tan.
I'm gonna say Rosie.
Oh. Are you doing that because you wish you were her smacking Wayne's butt?
I just liked how she kept Wayne under control, I guess.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're coming around to the new Rosie? Because you seem to have been very anti-Rosie.
No, I'm not anti. I don't quite understand like that it's the same character, but it's a completely different person. Like it's not the same character.
Right.
It's the same person, but not the same character.
Okay. We're going to move on quickly to Guess the Future. Jack, you and I are excluded from this. Matt, what do you want to see, or what do you think is going to happen coming up with some of these storylines? We have
well, I mean, obviously Dierks there's a train wreck coming with him, and I can't wait to see that. Rather than Jonesy, I mean, they're just fun to watch. I don't really care about their storyline. The Skids, I mean, I still laughed in Joe's episode, but I don't know. It
seems like their storyline's done, and they're just
kind of at a dead end. Yeah. So no, I'm honestly most excited to see more Rosie and Wayne and see where that goes. I liked relationship Wayne in the other sons. I think there's some real fun elements to that. So I want to see that grow.
Yeah, Tan.
I keep on still seeing this Murray Fred phone call, and they're making a point of showing us on every single one of these episodes. So I'm waiting for, I'm guessing the last episode, maybe that something will happen with that. He's going to answer, or she's going to give up calling and just show up. Maybe Rosie's going to be there. Maybe those two will go into a fight. Like, I'm like, Rosie,
Donnybrook.
I'm like,
Murray, Fred, and Rosie.
this is kind of what I'm thinking, because like Rosie's got a little bit more spunk in her now. So I'm thinking she'll probably take her, right? So not just go and read a book.
I don't know. Marie Fred's got those arms that Wayne loved cocking. Victor, what do you think's going to happen?
Oh, well, I mean, again, I agree with Tanya. I think that's definitely going in that direction. And the other obvious one is Matt's favorite. I think Dierks going to get his comeuppance, and so that's going to be super fun when it happens.
Well, you say comeuppance, but Dierks hasn't done anything wrong yet.
Yeah, he will though.
Oh,
he's got slime written all over. I mean,
it was a lot of confidence there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
there's going to be a cheat there.
It's the forecasting, right? I mean, it's we're basically expecting him to be the slime dirtbag that he is, and everyone's saying, "Oh, well, you better not slip up." Guess what's going to happen? He has to slip up, right? I mean, he's a slime. You knew it. It's like what Wayne keeps saying: first impressions, and that's that's basically what they're setting up for. And so if we're foretelling the future, I think that's where we're going.
Or is it that it's just all him being, that way in front of the boys? Maybe she gets a different side of him. Like Katy sees the real person that he is, and the nice.
What fun would that be?
I don't know.
That won't lead to a Donnybrook. All right. Okay, we're going to move on quickly to listener comments. We have a bunch here. So we have one. What's that?
You never gave Jack a time.
I'm not going forward, but I just want to go back a minute.
Okay.
You guys used to play the game with Guess Victor's MVP.
Oh.
And I want to just point out that there was 1 week where I got it right. Only one. I can't remember exactly which week it was, but there was 1 week I got it right, and I was so happy.
Don't tell me it was the fish, because
it was like the hardest game I've ever played.
That still haunts me, that fish one. When he pulls out the fish, I'm like, come on.
So hold on.
Or the unborn fetus. Like, really? Like, what? No.
Jack, you're a good guy and everything, but we're supposed to just take your word on it that you got one right? Like,
I believe you, Jack. I believe
I got
you.
every week, right? Sure, but I got one.
I got one.
I put it in the Twitter group that week when I went, oh my God, I got it.
I love that.
I wasn't going to scroll through and try and find it.
Yeah. No, that's great. Okay.
That's awesome.
All right, listener comments. If you're a fan of Letterkenny, you owe it to yourself to listen to the Produce Stand. I love the analysis and the thoughts. I'm listening from the first episode on. I suggest you do too. That's from our new friend, Brian Tan, who's the co-host of another podcast called The Plotaholics, which I've been listening to, and it's actually quite good. So check them out if you like movie podcasts. It's a good one, and he's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's now a fan of ours, so we like him. Oh, and then he had another post today. You're hurrying up to finish watching Letterkenny the other day so you can get back to listening to your buds on @ProduceStand. So, Brian, thank you so much. Sorry I can't add you to our Twitter DM group. We're trying to figure out why. I don't know if we've hit a limit or whether somebody in the group has blocked you and now you're not allowed to join us or something. But we're trying to figure it out. Hopefully we can make some room for you so you can join. I know, right? Our friend Eliza, this is about to be really good or a mess, and I'm excited for either outcome. She's talking about tonight's episode. She's looking forward to it and wanting to know. So now you know, Eliza. I hope you enjoyed it. Our buddy Trace, oh sure, move heaven and earth for the Australia guy. Thanks a heap, Matt. Wine Wednesday, humph. That's from Trace. I think he's still taking exception to the fact that we made him
Fuck it up, Trace. I love me better.
Record on a Wednesday. And then Adrian says Trace should be the go-to stand-in for Victor. That ad read was fire. And then another new listener, Brenya Sorab, she says, I started it last week and just finished listening to the season 2 recap. It's so hard. I want to talk to them, but it's over a year old, and she's determined to catch up. So Brenya, I was able to add to the DM group, so she's joined us so she can chat with us. Sorry, Brian. But anyway, so she's like, what's that?
Must be fucking nice.
Oh, yes, exactly. And then the other thing I have here in news, Danny Ellis, our friend Danny Ellis, who's art director on Letterkenny, she posted a tweet, I think today, saying, "So for those unaware, I'm leaving my current job to go back to film/TV work, specifically the Letterkenny scene. I'm excited. I missed it. And long term, it'll mean more time for streams when I'm in between shows." So that's from Danny. So what I'm reading into that is if she's coming back to the Letterkenny scene, but I mean, they've already shot the 2 seasons, she must be working on the Shoresy show. So that's, I'm just extrapolating from that tweet, because otherwise, why would she be leaving a job to go work on Letterkenny right now when they're not shooting? So that's exciting. So that means maybe Shoresy production is going to be starting up soon. That's what
Wow, you're really reading between the lines on that.
Well,
there.
again,
I read the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
I'll be honest.
All right.
We're on to final.
She didn't say Letterkenny. She said Letterkenny what scene or
the Letterkenny scene. So that means she's working with the production company again.
All right.
And I mean,
for her.
unless there's stuff that she has to do to help them with the tour, the live tour. So that's also possible. That they may have some stuff that they need for the live
That's
tour.
starting up soon, isn't it not?
Well, we're going to the first show in February. So yeah, that's starting.
February.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Final thoughts, Matt.
Welcome back, Melbourne. It's been a while, buddy. Loved having you. It was so fun to have you back, Jack. Yeah, I mean, this is such a fun episode. I was really excited. I mean, if we didn't have Victor here tonight, that would have been sad, because I don't think I could go more than 2 weeks without a Victor. So welcome back to you, buddy. I'll make one personal note. So I shared a quick photo in the Twitter DM group. I'll probably share some tomorrow for those who are following along and know my brother's doing his ride tomorrow. So a number of you, including a couple of the hosts on the show here, a bunch of donations were collected for his ride for cancer in Nova Scotia. He's doing a 100-kilometer bike ride tomorrow. And part of the deal was if we could generate some donations into the cause, he'd throw our logo on the jersey. So funny story was he actually got the jersey that he planned to use it, and the entire back, which he had promised us, was gone. It was covered in logos that the race had already done.
Oh.
So he felt really shitty, and I didn't actually mean to make him feel shitty, but I think I just ignored a text. And next thing I know, he sends me a photo of his helmet, which he's now put our Produce Stand podcast logo,
and it looks great. I want to do Produce Stand.
It looks amazing, and I'm like,
helmets.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
And then he also put one on the front, on the chest of his actual race shirt as well.
Nice.
So we're double dipping, and he joked that he's like, I felt bad because I promised you guys the back, but I thought the helmet would make up for it, because even beyond the race, I'm going to wear this helmet all the time, so I'll be sporting you guys wherever I go.
Sweet. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Right.
Congratulations and good luck on the ride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you. I'll pass on the note.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jack. I so appreciate that you're in the future and coming to us live. I think that's super cool. So awesome to see you, and it was a good night. I really want to get in a room, and I feel like we should watch the show together and maybe either video it or like audio stream it.
That's going to be really hard for me.
You guys are friggin' hilarious. Your laughter is so just absolutely it takes over. It's so awesome. So you guys are awesome.
All right. I'll echo. Jack, thanks for joining us, bud. I think from now on, we're going to try to make our Ag Hall socials Fridays so that more people can join us, including you, bud. So, it'll be a few episodes yet until we get to the Ag Hall social, but hopefully we'll see you in a few weeks when we do that. And yeah, it was a fun episode. It's good to have Victor back and rested in a better mood. I feel like he's more positive on the show again, so that's good. Re-energized Victor is always fun. Victor?
So I bring the authenticity. So my ratings are not based on my mood; they're based on what we're watching. So
if you say so.
put that out there. But Jack, you're a hoot. And I'm glad that you were able to guess one of my more obscure, MVPs that I've been kind of knocked down from that tree a little bit by the gang, but that's all right. I can bring it. I can bring the more reserved versions as well. But anyway, a couple of callbacks from last week too. I remembered. So Matt, I'm totally watching Squid Game, just so you know, and I'm loving it. We can't stop. Like I think we're on episode 5 or 6 now.
Oh, you're in for
so
a
much
treatment.
fun.
It's so good.
And by the way, you have the option of watching dubbed or subs, and we're watching dub and sub, and they're two completely different things. It's so much fun because they are. I almost feel like the dubs are better than the subs.
Really?
So yeah, and because the subs are written so poorly that you're not getting the authentic translation, but the dubs are done so well, and it just adds that little extra flavor by being able to kind of read it and listen to it. Anyway, really, really good show. Recommend it. Awesome. And then the other one, just a connection to Letterkenny. We've also been watching Reservation Dogs. You guys talked about that as well with Tanis and not Tanis, but you know what I mean. And it was just one episode, but she was so awesome in it. But the whole show is, my God, we finished the season, but what a great show. It's it's fun. It's got some serious elements to it. It's sad and it just all of those. It's got all the emotions. It's one of the best shows we've seen in a really, really long time.
Really? Wow. Okay.
It's strong. I'm only 4 or 5 episodes in, but it's strong. Like it's
I'm not going to say anything about it because you just enjoy it, like watch it, enjoy it, appreciate it, and then you're gonna just can't wait for another season of it.
Is it a Canadian show or no?
No. It takes place in what, Oklahoma, I think.
Oklahoma? Okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely watch it. But back to Letterkenny. Can't wait till the next episode, and can't wait till we do another one with Jack. You're an awesome man.
Awesome. Jack, final words.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for pushing your night out. When I requested this week, it was last week because it was a public holiday. But I'm here now and so glad that you guys were able to move your schedules. It's always fun. Listen every week. It's just awesome to be here. I'm so glad I got a unicorn. I missed out by one last time I was here.
Who was it? Was it Victor who ruined it? Was it Victor who ruined or Tanya who ruined it?
It was a 10.
Oh, was it 10?
I wasn't going to say.
I love how you immediately went to the
say it.
And you're not wrong.
So, do you want to just quickly share your socials for your community podcast?
Yeah, love to. At Greendale Human Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. We are anywhere you can find. Anywhere you're listening to this, you can find us, Greendale Human Podcasters. And it's good fun. We're one bit into season 2 now of Community, which is another really good show.
Yeah, it's a great show. And you just, this morning, it's morning for you. You recorded an episode before coming on to record with us. So you've had a full morning already.
Yeah. Very much. So I started at 9 o'clock and it's now 1:15.
So take the rest of the afternoon off. You've deserved it. Yeah. All right. I
can't do anything else. So
yeah. Sadly, I'm going to play us off here with a song from this episode. From Cosmo Doris. And that's all we have for this episode. Join us next week as we recap and review episode 6 of season 8, Holy Sheet, with our buddy Joshua. Don't forget to give our sponsor Diabolical Coffee some love. They are at diabolicalcoffee.com. Right now, you can use a promo code ProduceStand for 10% off any purchase from their site. If you'd like to support this podcast, rate us on iTunes or become a patron. There is a Patreon link on our site or Twitter profile at ProduceStandPod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at ProduceStandPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to bed early because tomorrow is Yard Sale Saturday. Unless you're Jack, then today is tomorrow and tomorrow is the next day or something like that. I'm going to go lay down now. On behalf of Jack, Matt, Victor, Tanya, and myself, thank you for listening and have a great week.